Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our our regular group coaching session. We've opened this up to everybody today because we have such a wonderful topic that we know that everybody can use. So hopefully you all enjoy the webinar today. I am just going to go through a couple of quick things real quick for our group coaching members. Just so you know, our upcoming meetings for this month are March 13th, 20th, and 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we also have our evening appointment on the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Going through the assignments, don't forget every day find five new Facebook pages to interact with, comment, share, and make sure you're posting one new post on your own wall each day. That's a joke, an image, open-ended question. The point is to get the fans engaged with you. Also make sure every day you're finding 5 new Twitter friends, posting at least once a day, sharing and retweeting twice a day. On Pinterest, you're pinning 3 items per day. Share your board on a regular basis, and make sure you're following new people on Pinterest as well. And then blogging, make sure you're doing at least 2 blogs per week. Focus on keywords being used. Remember the 80-20 rule, 80% educational, 20% pushes the sale, and the PS use coupon code works phenomenally. Also, don't forget to use social tools. Hootsuite, Twitter feed. Go into our rebroadcast and check those out if you're not using that now. I went through that real quickly because I want to get started with Atten Software, and I know he's got so much to share with us that we absolutely love. And if you have questions for him, please get that into the questions box throughout the webinar, and then we'll be answering them at the very end. So go ahead and take it over.
Okay, thank you, Shauna. It's great to be here. My name is Shailesh Hambed, and I'm the owner of Aten Software, a company that provides web-based software to manage your e-commerce data feeds. Is my screen all set that everybody can see it?
It looks real good here, yes.
Okay. Okay, great. So I'm here to talk about Google Shopping strategies, how to get started, how much you can expect to pay, and how to get the best results. I don't consider myself an AdWords expert, but since nearly all of our customers are on Google Shopping, over time I've gathered some tips and strategies, and I have a lot to cover, so I'm going to go pretty quickly. And I'm going to post this presentation on our website, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. My goal here is just to give you some exposure to the main ideas, and then you can figure out the details later. So the first question is, what is Google Shopping? Simply put, that's where the shoppers are. CPC Strategy just released their Q4 rankings of the major shopping engines, and Google has a commanding lead in the amount of revenue it generates for store owners. It also has the lowest cost of sale. So it's overall the biggest, best, and cheapest shopping engine to be part of, so I think it should be a part of every merchant's advertising strategy. So how do you get started with Google Shopping? The first thing to do is submit a data feed with all your product listings. This is where our company comes in. We are specialized in Google Feeds for Yahoo stores and have been doing them for almost 10 years now. We charge $89 for the setup and optimization of your feed, and then $16.50 a month. We also have instructions on our site for do-it-yourself setup, so you don't need to pay the setup fee. And if you decide later that you want us to optimize the feed for you, we can do that separately for $49. And then we also offer other shopping engines for $5.40 a month. So how do you go about optimizing your data feed once you have it set up? Well, with our data feed service, we can find a way to get your store listed without you having to really make any changes to your product catalog. But for best results, there's some things that you can do to improve your data quality. The main one is to include the brand, manufacturer part number, and UPC code for every item that has one. The Yahoo store doesn't come out of the box with these fields set up in the catalog manager, so you have to add them to your catalog and then populate the data. And then a couple other things that are going to help is including an image for every item and defining a Google product category. So what do you do if you don't have all this information in your product catalog? Well, there's ways that we can work around that. And for example, if you're missing the brand and manufacturer part numbers, we can use your store name as the brand and then the code field as the manufacturer part number. And then UPC would just be blank. This works for apparel retailers and people that sell white label items. And it works just fine for people that don't have the information. And then if you're missing images, there's really nothing you can do, so we would just filter those items out of the feed. And then for the Google product category, we would assign a default value that applies to all the products, or you can subscribe to our new categorization service, which starts at $54 for setup and then $9 a month. And then with that, we would maintain the categorization for you. If there's any other errors in your feed, generally we would just filter those items out, and then you can submit all the valid listings. So all of these workarounds are quick and easy, and you can start your feeds right away. And then next, I want to talk about how you set up your Google Merchant account. Our Google Setup Guide on our website covers all the details, but I just want to mention a couple of steps that are really important. And the first one is the tax and shipping rules. Google requires that you do this before they let any of your listings run. For the shipping, you only need to provide estimates, so don't worry if your shipping rates are complicated. You can just put a rough estimate in there. Make sure the default checkbox is checked for one of the shipping methods, otherwise Google won't know which one to use and they won't show any of your products. And then the next big thing to set up in your Google Merchant account is the link to your AdWords account. So what you want to do is, well, first let me explain that Google uses the product listings that you upload to your Google Merchant account to automatically generate ads in your AdWords account. So what you have to do is link the merchant account to the AdWords account. Once you've got your feed set up, there's a wizard in the Google Merchant account that you can do this in a few steps. So what you do is you start by going to the Settings AdWords tab and then click on the blue Setup Product Listing Ads Campaign button. If you have a multi-client merchant account, then make sure you do this from the parent account level because one Google Merchant account can only be linked to one Google AdWords account. So you click this button and then you'll be asked to set your bid and budget. So on this first step, it's just going to ask you for a campaign name and target countries. You can leave it at the defaults and just click the Continue button. And then on the next step, you'll be able to set your bid and budget. The bid is the maximum amount you're willing to spend. It's the maximum amount you're willing to pay for a click-through, and the budget is the maximum amount you're willing to spend per day. This is the screen where you set the maximum bid and budget. And once you set those two values, you just click Continue, and that's pretty much it. You've got your product listing ads campaign set up. Now, once it's running, you can view the clicks, impressions, and cost from the same AdWords tab in your Google Merchant account. You can also activate and deactivate the campaigns from here. These stats can be out of date though, so if you want to see the current information, make sure to click the Manage in AdWords link to view the current status in your AdWords account. Okay, so now we got the feed going and the campaign set up, we can get into the optimization strategies. First, you're going to want to see where your money is being spent. One of the most important reports for this is the Keywords report. You can access that from your Campaign's Dimensions tab in the View dropdown. Select Search Terms, and this report is going to show you the clicks and costs associated with each search term that your items are appearing under. So you can see in this screen the example where this customer paid 17 cents for notebook paper and 34 cents for notebook computer keywords. Which brings us to the next slide, negative keywords. These are keywords that you don't want your ads to run for. you have to add them manually to your account. This is an area where you can quickly lower your cost by weeding out irrelevant clicks. So just go to the Campaign Keywords tab, scroll to the very bottom and expand the negative keywords section. You can click the Add button and add as many keywords as needed. So in this example, I added a negative keyword for notebook paper because the seller sells notebook computers and they don't really want to be paying for clicks for people searching for notebook paper. The next strategy I want to talk about is setting an all products bid. This is set up by default when you create the campaign, but it's worth mentioning anyway because it's important to have in your account. This is something you set up on the Auto Targets tab in your campaign. The product targets let you set a higher or lower bid for different sets of items. By having an all products target, you can make sure that all your items are being listed at a very low cost, and you're not accidentally forgetting to include some of the items. With our feed system, we offer an option. When you're ready to set up more product targets, you can also do that on the same tab. You can set up targets by 5 different attributes: product type, brand, condition, AdWords label, and AdWords grouping. Our data feeds support all of these attributes and we can customize what data goes into them. So in this example, I've added a target for Versace branded items, and I've increased the bid to $1.50 because those are high-end items and they're going to sell for a high price. So we can set a higher bid for those items. With our feed system, we offer an option where you can set up a different bid based on the selling price of the item. So for example, you can bid a penny for items between a penny and $10, 25 cents for items between $10 and $100, and 50 cents for items that are $100 and up. This is a quick and easy way to optimize your bidding. The premise behind this is that you can afford to pay more for clicks on a higher priced item because you'll have a higher margin on that item. You can set this up for free using the instructions on our site under the optimization page, or we can set it up for you for a one-time $20 fee. Another optimization strategy is scheduling your ads. Under your campaign settings, there's an advanced settings link where you can access your ad schedule. By default, the ads run all the time 24/7. So if your clicks convert more during certain hours of the day, you can pause your ads during the off-peak hours. You could also bid more during certain times of the day if that makes more sense by using the bid adjustment link. So in this example, I've disabled the ads on Saturday and Sunday, and they're only going to run Monday through Friday. If you aren't already doing so, I strongly recommend that you add traffic tracking on your website with analytics. You can use either Google Analytics or Yahoo Web Analytics. We add tracking codes to all our feeds by default, so you'll be able to tell where your clicks are coming from. We have all our optimization tips on our support site. Just search there for PLA optimization. PLA stands for Product Listing Ads. And a couple other great resources for Google Shopping are the Google Commerce blog and the CPC Strategy blog. They both provide free information and guides on how to make the best of Google Shopping. And lastly, you can add this to your group coaching homework assignment list. The most important tip is to monitor your campaigns each week. This is because the campaigns can go stale and become ineffective because things are changing so quickly. So it's important to go in there and check what's going on and adjust the bids once a week at least so that you can make sure your advertising dollars are being well spent. And that's it. Thanks for listening, and I'd be happy to take your questions and get your feedback.
All right, perfect. I think our first question is from Casey, who wants to know, is Google Shopping beneficial for a wholesale-only company? We are mainly B2B and already get too many phone calls asking about splitting cases of product from retail shoppers and individuals simply wanting one of an item because usually they're ordering a case, which is 12 of each item.
Okay, so the question is Google Shopping a good place for selling wholesale items?
Yes.
Um, I believe that you can list your items, and what they want you to do is list your items um, with the price that is associated with the lowest quantity that can be purchased. So if you sell a 10-pack of items, they want you to list that item with the price of all 10 of those items. And if you can submit your feed with the pricing correctly that way, then it's not a problem to list your items in Google. We have some merchants who sell things like greeting cards, which always come in packs, and they have an additional field in their feed for the minimum quantity, and then we can multiply that by the per item quantity and submit that as the price of the item.
Perfect. Perfect. Angelica wants to know, can you add multiple images to one product?
Yes, Google just recently added a new attribute called additional image link, and in that attribute you can submit up to 10 additional images. It's really useful for apparel sellers, where Google does a visually similar search function now. And with our data feed service, you just specify the names of the fields that contain those additional images, and you can submit them to Google.
Perfect, perfect. And Lorraine was saying that she wanted to know, what was the last blog? She got the Google Commerce but missed the next one.
CPC Strategy. It's a company that provides pay-per-click campaign management, and they also put out some really good blog articles. It's yeah, CPC, Cat Peter Cat.
Perfect, perfect. And then a question from Tom, and please guys, if you've got more questions, get them in here. Tom wants to know, is there any way to see or estimate how much competitors are bidding on their PLAs?
You know, I'm not sure about that. I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that in some cases, like if you're comparing between AdWords and product listing ads, in some cases you can find out what the people are bidding for a certain keyword on AdWords. Mm-hmm. So let's say they're bidding $1.50 for you know, camping tents. In AdWords, you can see that in AdWords, but I'm not sure if you can see that in product listing ads. But you can just adjust your bid until you see your listing coming up, and in some cases the bid in product listing ads might be a lot lower than it is in AdWords. So there's a lot of areas where you can you know, get your items out there on the home page for less than what you would be with AdWords.
Perfect, perfect. And then Angelica said, will this video be available to review later today? Yes, I should have that on the back end of our group coaching site later today, and then I'll also put it out on our blog as well. And so Tom had a little couple of follow-up questions. Do you think the bids would be more for PLA, which he thinks you just answered that, but basically more than AdWords?
Actually, the bids for PLA might be lower than they are for AdWords. Mm-hmm. Because I think there's a lot of people on AdWords and they've gotten used to how to do it, and I think Google Shopping is so new and people are just starting to bid in it because before it was free. So I think there's some opportunities there where you can actually get traffic for lower cost than you would in AdWords, depending on the keywords.
Yeah, Absolutely. And that's the other thing about it is with it being so new that yes, you're right. They just started charging for this. More people are finding that they're losing traffic coming in from Google Shopping that they were previously getting. So in order, to get those in, you're going to need some type of, best way is to just have an automatic data feed that takes care of everything for you, which, anytime that we mention that, we talk about Atten software because they can get you set up. They work with the Yahoo stores. They're very easy to use, very easy to set up, and you can just set it up and not have to worry about that. But again, your most important tip was making sure you go through and do what? What was that important tip?
Review the campaign every week.
Perfect. Perfect. Yep, that's a really good thing. So add that into your weekly homework assignment that you make sure that you're checking on those things. I think that's it for the questions. But, if you guys, we did get another one from Lorraine. If I do my own feed and I want to leave an item out, will not putting a Google product category keep it out of the listings?
No. If you don't have a Google product category, I think Google will still accept the listing, and they might not get as high ranking. Maybe they will give it a slightly lower score for the ranking, but it will be listed. But there's lots of other ways to exclude the item from Google Shopping. We have a whole filtering system on our site. You can just click on the item and mark it as excluded from the feed. You could also add an attribute to your catalog manager where you can, a yes/no field that you can just set yes, include in Google, or no, do not include, and then we can set up the filters that way. So there are other ways, but not with the Google product category.
Okay. And Lorraine, it wants to know how would she keep something out, like if she doesn't have, if she's not using the service, she's doing it on her own.
There's an attribute called AdWords Publish, and you can set that to true or false based on whether you want to include it in Google or not. And I believe that in your AdWords account, in the campaign settings, there's a way that you can actually add filters in your AdWords account as well.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so we'll give it just a couple of minutes and see if we've got more questions in here. Casey says, my understanding is that Google Shopping is mainly retail. Am I wrong? Have you seen or had experience working with strictly wholesale bulk distributors in Google Shopping? Great question, Casey.
You know what? I think there's a policy that Google has about wholesalers that I don't remember the exact policy, but it's possible that they don't allow wholesalers. I know they don't allow wholesale drop shippers. I don't know about wholesalers in general. So that may be a reason why there's no like purely wholesale companies selling. I know that some of the other requirements are that you have to be able to purchase the item from the website without needing like a special account approval or anything. You should be able to just click on the site and be able to check out right away. So if it would be good to check their policies to know if they can accept your site.
Now, if it is a wholesale site, but they do allow anyone to buy, there's no registration, no special things going on, it's just that you're going to be buying in bulk. Would they then be able to do that, or is there some possible conflict and might want to double check?
I believe so, and like I was mentioning about the greeting card sellers, and we have some sellers that sell electronic components that are really small and come in big packages, multi-packs, I mean. So yeah, I don't see a problem with it if they can, if anybody can just from the general public can buy those items in bulk.
Perfect. Perfect. Yep, I think that that's what we were looking for. Well, this is such great information, and Marilyn wants to know, Shopzilla is showing their results on Google product listings. Is there a way to know if your products are from the Shopzilla listing or Google? Great question, Marilyn.
That is a great question, and I think you would have to look at the link, use your browser bar or right-click on the link and see where that link is going. You might have to open it in a notepad and kind of analyze it, and then you'd be able to tell. I mean, if you want to do it without clicking through the link, but I think that's how you would be able to tell whether it's coming from Shopzilla or not. And I do have one other tip that I can share.
Oh, please.
As far as your data feed goes, I think everybody knows that you want to have a well-optimized title for each item. So, example, if you're selling shoes, like you don't want to just put green shoes. You want to put like green Nike shoes, running shoes, or something like that. You want to have a detailed and optimized title. But the other thing that is maybe an issue with the Yahoo stores is that in your description or the caption, the first words of your caption are also very important for determining the ranking of your listing. So you want to have those important keywords that you're targeting also be in the first part of the caption. And for some of our customers, I noticed that their caption begins with some boilerplate text like, you know, ordering information and availability information, and that's gonna. So if those keywords are in the first part of the description, it's really not helping that item get promoted up in the ranking. So if that is the case in your Yahoo store and you don't want to rewrite all your captions, we can, in our data feed, prefix the title to the caption. So your title gets repeated in the description, and then that way those keywords get boosted up in priority. But I just wanted to mention that because the title and description are the two most important fields for ranking your items up for particular keywords.
Absolutely right. Tom wants to know, if your category shows stores like eBay and Etsy and Zazzle, are these retailers paying for the ads on PLA? Because are many products still getting listed for free on Google Shopping?
Okay, eBay, Etsy, those are all marketplaces. And as far as I know, there's no way for an individual seller to list their items in Google Shopping if they're part of a marketplace. So those listings are most likely coming from some agreement between eBay and Google Shopping or Etsy and Google Shopping. It's most likely that they aggregate all the listings from all their individual sellers and then submit one big data feed file to Google Shopping, and then they control the bids and everything. But as far as the question about free listings, Google says officially that everything is paid listings, but there are still some free clicks that are coming through, and they still haven't removed that from their dashboard, the chart that shows the free clicks. So I think there is some way that you can still get free clicks, although I don't know if you can do that without being like a paying customer.
And I think part of the reason why they do include some free in there is because they want to make sure that their customer, Google's customer, the customer who's actually searching for something, is going to find what they want. So if they take absolutely everybody out and only make it the people paying, they may not have what their customer is looking for. So I believe they are having to put in some free listings in there too, just to make sure that their customer finds what they're looking for. But I wouldn't count on that as being your way to get sales, because usually those free listings are on page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, way down the line. And if you want to be on page 1, you got to do the work. Sorry for
Yeah.
jumping in.
No, that's a great point, and um, yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and for people listening, you just really have to think about what would Google do? If you're a religious person, I'm sure you've heard, what would Jesus do? Okay, so you apply that to your life. Well, I'm asking you to apply to your business, what would Google do? What would Google do as far as looking for information for your website? What are they going to be looking at? Or what is Google going to do to help their customers find what they're looking for? Just what would Google do? What would Google do if they found spam on your website because you're trying to cheat the system? These are just really great questions to keep asking yourself. What would Google do? So that's just something to think about. I cannot thank you enough for being here and helping us today. So very wonderful, so very helpful. I really do appreciate it and answering everybody's questions. Thank you so very much. And I know that we're going to be together again sometime soon on our radio show, Ecom Experts, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and thanks a lot for having me here. It's really my pleasure.
Oh, it was a pleasure having you. And I'm going to take over the controls for just a little bit, guys, and I want to show you something that came in to me over, I think it was just last week I found this. It was done on March 1st, but I just highly recommend that you check out this article, and I'll put this in the replay, but it's all about Google gutting its search quality rating guidelines, and it's for public release. And it's just absolutely phenomenal, and it also talks to you about what the human search quality raters are using when they're grading Google's search results. And the more information that you have about this kind of stuff, the more it's going to help you understand, what does Google do? That's the question. What does Google do? What would Google do? And there are some amazing guidelines here and looking at what they're specifically looking for. So this is, I think, an absolutely must read and very, very important article that you should look at. And I'll make sure that there's a link to it. But if you just want to do a search right now for it, do search for Google gutted its search quality rating. And then it's on Search Engine Land that you're going to find that article. Highly, highly, highly recommend. All right, that's going to be it for us today. Thank you so much. For our group coaching members, I will see you guys next week. I'll make sure to put the replay in the group coaching section. And for everybody else, I hope that you'll sign up for the group coaching and be able to join us each week for more education. Thanks again, everybody, and thank you again to Atten Software for being with us today. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye for now.